Coming to you from deep in the heart of Texas, this is Punk Brats, a podcast focused on the lives and experiences of our military brats. We didn't serve, we got served. Now here are your Punk Brats, Rose and Lisa.
Hey, it's Rose.
Hey, it's Lisa. Welcome to another episode of Punk Brats. Wow, here we are, Rose. We wouldn't be able to do this without those supporters out there, you know?
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate everybody listening and all of you that are calling into the hotline. That has been really cool to hear too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so exciting to say our names and to greet everybody, because that means we're still doing this, like I said, and it's just so much fun. But man, wow, what a month since we've last talked to each other. What's been happening since our last episode?
Well, a lot has been happening. Actually, the month of November was quite eventful. You know, Veterans Day was in November, and this Veterans Day was extra special for us because our father was the Grand Marshal of his city's Veterans Day parade. So it was a great honor.
Was very cool.
And yeah, it was just so awesome to see him get recognized for all the work he puts into his local VFW and just,
Yeah. I mean, go to our Facebook page to check him out. We have it on there. We're Punk Brats on Facebook, and we have his picture. He's just smiling and just so happy. I was just so proud of him. I just love our dad so much. He's such an incredible person.
Yeah, he really is. He's definitely my hero. And the highlight for me during the parade is when they announced him and just the cheers. I was like, oh my gosh, look at all those people cheering for my dad.
Well, definitely, if you have a story out there about your father or mother who has accomplished something big, share it with us. Call our hotline at 512-254-5989. So anyway, guess what, Rose?
What?
You know how I always do Brat in the News?
Mm-hmm.
I am the Brat in the News this month.
Yeah.
I'm back from Europe. You guys, what a trip. What a trip. I took my husband, Chris. We went for 2 weeks, started in London. It was insane, crazy. We had so much fun. So we got to take the Eurostar. That's all Chris wanted to do all the time when since he's seen it built, like on TV, like heard about it. I just want to ride the Eurostar. So we rode the Eurostar from London to Paris. It was really cool. We stayed a day in Paris. He had to, he wanted to see the Eiffel Tower. You and I have seen it plenty of times, but he got to see it and knocked that off of his bucket list. Then we headed to Brussels, where we got to visit with a friend, Christoph, and I ate my Belgian waffle, knocked that off my list. Oh my gosh, it was so good. We met a really cool taxi driver in Ghent. So good that we exchanged Instagram and our contact information, and he now wants to come to Texas to see us with his family. I'm trying to go through like my whole trip because I know we have such short time on banter. So y'all, I'm talking really fast, but I am a Texan and, we do talk fast. What else? Oh, while we were visiting Christoph, we went to where he lives in Bruges, Belgium. Never been there. Oh my gosh. I must say it's one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to in Europe, ever. Okay. Here's the funny story. We went to Amsterdam for Halloween, followed, after Brussels and, Bruges. I left my phone in the taxi in Amsterdam.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not kidding you. That's Lisa. But guess what? Because we had such a nice conversation with the taxi driver and it was like a 20-minute drive, we asked about his children and he asked about us and he was so nice. So we kept calling the number from Chris's phone and he answered and he brought my phone back to me. How lucky was I?
That's so cool.
I got lucky. I would have ruined my whole trip.
And I think that was like in the very beginning of your trip, right? When you lost
because Amsterdam we're only like 4 days in or whatever. But we went there for Halloween, and I'm going to be honest with you. I had my hopes up, like thinking like, oh my gosh, everybody's going to be dressed up. It's going to be cool. I only counted like a handful of people who were dressed up for Halloween, even though they did decorate and had the Halloween stuff out. I guess nobody was really in the spirit like they are in the US,
Yeah, I think that's more of a US tradition, like dressing up and going trick-or-treating.
Well, that's okay because Chris was distracted by the red light city district. He finally got to see that. And, when you and I were growing up in the 80s and we would go through that, go through the red light city district just because it's all throughout Amsterdam. The ladies were naked, topless and all that. They have strict rules now. So the ladies are actually fully clothed. I mean, they have like thongs on, and I'm not saying that they're dressed like, they're still showing enough. They're still showing enough to bring you to the window. Okay. But no, it was just something cool that he finally got to see. It's not like people think on TV how it's all X-rated and all that. It's not. The Dutch really have their stuff together when it comes to that lifestyle. You know what I mean? It's not like it is how you would think it would be. And then from there, we went to Den Haag, and Rose, we went to Rotterdam. I can never say it. Madurodam.
Yeah, the miniature city.
Yes, the miniature city.
I love it there. That's like one of my favorite places.
Dad and Mom took us all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I finally got to take Chris, and for those who don't know what it is, it's the entire pretty Netherlands, all the landmarks of the Netherlands in one little city, little models. It's incredible.
It's a scaled down version.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then we went to Xanten. I drank my first Diebels Alt. Xanten is where we lived for a couple of weeks when we first moved to Germany from Japan. And we went from Tokyo to cobblestones. We were like, what the hell?
It was a punishment, we thought.
But we ended up loving it. And then from there, got to see a good friend, Klaus. And I went to Rheinberg, where we grew up, and got to see the old Reichel building where our parents were stationed. And God, I wish we had so much more time, but I'm just excited that I got to see our old apartment where we lived, got to show Chris.
I think that's really cool, especially with Chris getting to experience it. And, we've always talked about our stories, of us growing up and stuff. And he actually got to experience what it is. And just really quick, that you mentioned he really wanted to go on the Eurostar. The Eurostar is that the train that goes under the English Channel?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And, but it goes dark. So it's not like you see the ocean or anything. So it's like, I was like, that's it. That felt like any other train ride.
I don't think you could pay me enough money to do that.
Well, then from Rheinberg, I wanted to take Chris to the old bar we used to hang out at called the Bakken. It's gone.
No.
Yeah. So that's the only development has happened in Rheinberg. And
gosh, all my memories.
But our old train station's there. Our old train station where you remember you and I had to make sure we caught the last train, because if we didn't make it to church on Sunday morning at 10.
Oh, yeah.
That was the only rule. We could hang out in Dusseldorf, but Dad and Mom said, you better be at church on Sunday at 10. And we were always, never missed it ever.
Never missed. Yeah.
And then here's the highlight. We went to Dusseldorf. I took Chris to our high school, the International School of Dusseldorf. We were the Mighty Alts. Now they're the Mighty Lions. I got to see my old science teacher, Mr. O'Farrell, that I told Chris about for years. And now they got to actually meet and talk.
That's Chris amazing. He's still working there.
He's retiring this coming year. But Chris got to see our school. Of course, it's bigger than what it was when we went. And long story short, he met all of our friends and, the friends. And he got to experience the core group. He got to experience the Irish pub and the Papadoo, which were my two favorite bars when I was growing up in high school. But what's hilarious is that we used to close it down. We closed it down again. We ended up bumping into some cool Americans and I had a really good time. But
that's cool. So is the Litfass still there?
No, the Litfass is gone. The Mai Tai is gone. The Onion is gone. Like all the places that we.
Oh, the White Bear.
I don't remember that one. Oh, that's a different one. I don't remember that one. Huh.
Oh yeah, the White Baron. It's the Vice Baron.
You know what? It was just so strange and surreal to be in a place where I enjoyed, 16, 17, 18 years old. And now at my age to look back, we really did grow up very unique. Chris was even like, wow. He got used to the warm beers, the warm Cokes, the bubbly water. But he loves it so much. He's like, when are we going back? I go, as soon as you want to, baby. But that was my trip all in 5 minutes.
Oh, very cool. Wow. I know it was, we had talked about your trip forever leading up to it. And then you went and now you're back. And it's just
Oh, and one more thing. He got to drive on the Autobahn.
Oh, that's cool. But
our rental was a small was this Kia, and it wouldn't even let us go fast. So it was like, Chris, go faster. And he goes, I'm going as fast as I can.
That's funny.
Yeah. But thanks for letting me share on that. I had a good time. I felt like a kid again. I love being a military brat. That's why we are doing what we're doing, because how unique, to go back and experience everything.
Did you get to take him to our tiny little apartment in Rhineberg where we ended up living?
When he was looking at it, he thought the whole 3 stories was our side. He goes, oh, that's your side? I go, just the first floor. He goes, what? I go, yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's
hilarious. How everybody lives there.
Gosh, that little apartment is so funny. Oh my gosh, that reminds me. That apartment, remember, and because it's Thanksgiving, the month of Thanksgiving, it's I remember our first Thanksgiving in that apartment.
Oh my gosh,
when we moved into that apartment, there was no kitchen. And I don't know how many people out there know this, but if you live on the economy in Germany, like in German housing, especially the apartments, they don't come with kitchens. I know it's very strange, but Google this.
No, I'm laughing because could you imagine people's faces when they are apartment hunting Americans?
We walked in and I was like, where is the kitchen?
Yeah.
And there was no kitchen. So our first Thanksgiving, we moved in, I think it was the week before Thanksgiving, we moved into that apartment. And my mom did what she could. And we made do because we had to rent our kitchen and we were waiting for it to get delivered, including the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
So, and the cabinets, no stove, nothing. So we ended up doing, I think we did takeout maybe or something. I can't remember. Anyway, we ended up doing our dishes in the bathtub. Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember. We had to bend over. Yeah, it sucked. Bending over the
dishes in the bathtub,
doing the dishes and drying them, and then walking back to the kitchen to put them back into the cupboards.
Yes, and then trying to clean up after all of that and vacuuming, and we plugged our vacuum cleaner in and
Go ahead, tell the story.
We didn't put it in the converter, and the vacuum cleaner blew up.
Hey, I blame Dad for that one. He should have known that over us. But my dad plugs in the vacuum cleaner, and we just hear boom, 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 and it just like made this sound, and it just blew up and smoked everywhere. And we had a good laugh as a family.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the conversion, but I think ours is less, right? We have like 120 volts, and over there it's 220 or two something.
I don't know.
It was just.
Well, Dad got it just wasn't strong enough. And I don't know. I just remember we had a crazy fiasco in our living room with this vacuum cleaner. Oh my gosh. Memories, girl. Memories.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's cool. I'm so glad. And it'll be my turn next, hoping to make it there next summer. So we'll see.
Yeah. And hey, you guys, share your stories with us. Go to our website, www.punkbrats.com. You can contact us through there or call us on our hotline at 512-254-5989. You don't have to share a story. You don't have to be a brat. We want to hear your funny stories or your funny, experiences or just something that's unique to your life, brat life. Right, Rose?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love listening to them. We listen to the voicemails, and maybe yours will be the one that we pick to highlight.
Exactly. And we highlight those at the end of the podcast. So,
well, I think now would be a good time for me to plug a book for my Did You Know This month. I recently read a book called 9 Rules of Engagement, A Military Brat's Guide to Life and Success by Harris Faulkner. And she's a news anchor on a show called Outnumbered. And the reason I wanted to highlight this book, I mean, other than it being a really great read and the pictures in there were really cool, but I wanted to highlight it because her book reminded me of our podcast. She interviews current and current and former military families. Yeah. And she tells stories that, we can all relate to. And anyway, it was just like, it's like part of her memoir, and it's like, it was motivational, and it was just I don't know. I just thought it was really insightful, and it was just a really good read. Lisa, if you want to borrow it, I can bring it over the next time I see you.
Oh, sounds good to me. So if you like to read, what's the name of the book again?
It's called 9 Rules of Engagement, A Military Brat's Guide to Life and Success, and it's by Harris Faulkner. And by the way, Harris Faulkner is on my list of notable people I would like to meet. So if anyone out there in our listening audience has this hookup, please, 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 please introduce me.
Wow. Sounds like a good read. Thanks for sharing. So I think it's a good time to introduce our upcoming guest. I mean, I'd love to talk and banter all day long, but I don't want to bore people.
It's boring. But I do want to get to our guest.
Yes, I'm excited.
Patiently.
Yes.
Shawna Kenney is the author of the award-winning memoir, I Was a Teenage Dominatrix. She's also the editor of the anthology Book Lovers, Sexy Stories from Under the Covers. And she's also the co-author of the new oral history, Live at the Safari Club, A History of Hardcore Punk in the Nation's Capital, 1988 to 1998. She is also a very dear friend, and I am very proud to introduce her.
Hi, welcome, Shawna Kenney. I'm Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. I remember you from Rose's wedding. And Rose, I already know you.
Hi, Shawna. It's so nice to see you.
I miss you. I remember when we were neighbors in Hollywood, long time ago.
It was a long time ago. Wow. You're still there. So, and I vicariously lived through your Instagram, by the way.
Well, actually, I left Hollywood. I live in Wilmington, North Carolina now.
Wow, that's a big change.
I didn't make a big deal of it on my social media, so you didn't miss anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, we always like our guests to update us, so I guess you'll definitely be updating us on the life of Shawna Kenney. So what's been happening?
Life.
So we made the big cross-country move back east a year ago and moved to Wilmington, North Carolina, where I went to grad school years ago. And we'd bought a house when I'd been to grad school here. And now just coincidentally, both of our moms ended up in the area, and they're both widows. And we just felt like it was a good time to come back east and be close to them.
Well, that's a beautiful part of the country. I'm familiar with South Carolina, but not North, but I know it's just as beautiful. But let's rewind. Before you got there, tell us about the Brat and you.
Yeah. So I was born in upstate New York. Both of my parents are from upstate New York, and my dad was enlisted in the Navy and stationed in Long Beach, and came home to New York, married my mom. They moved back out to Long Beach together. I was conceived in California. and my father was in the Navy on an aircraft carrier much of my mom's pregnancy. He was actually part of the crew that helped fish Apollo 11 out of the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
And then really he shipped out to Vietnam. So my mom came back to New York and had me in New York so she could be closer to family. So he was in Vietnam when I was born. He got it. The story is a telegram that you have a baby girl, Kenney, but didn't know my name.
So how old were you when he finally did come home and see you?
6 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then my sister was born in 1972. So he was in the Navy until, I'm not sure what age I was, but I think he did 4 years. And then he was a reservist for the next 30 years.
Wow.
And both of his older brothers were in the Navy, and they had been stationed in Southern Maryland at Patuxent River Naval Air Station. And so we were always going down there to visit from New York. And we ended up moving there when I was 10. And both of my parents worked on the base as civilians there as well. And my first jobs were on the base too.
Hey, yeah. Like most
that's
brats.
something we all have in common. First jobs on the base.
Really?
So what was your first job on the base?
First, I worked at Camp Mattapani, the day camp in the summers. I was a camp counselor.
Oh.
Then I worked at the Navy Museum, the Naval Air Museum, which had like a flight simulator in it. And I'd give tours to Boy Scouts, and I'd make candy airplanes for the gift shop.
Oh, that sounds fun.
High school job.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm jealous.
I was like in finance office doing filing and typing and learning how to use a copier machine.
I was just going to say the same thing. I was making copies and bringing coffee to the people who were working there. Oh my gosh, nothing exciting like that.
There wasn't a lot going on. And I mean, it's in a small town. So we always, that really the only things in St. Mary's County are the Navy base and Amish people. And that really was the population there.
Well, Rose did give Burger King a try. In our first episode, we talk about that being when it was brought in. So rather than doing like an office job, she tried that one. But I think you went back to the office job, didn't you? The second semester
Burger
or the
King
second?
Wasn't my thing. I tried
because like summer employment, they had it split where you could do the first half, at one office, and then you could get the experience in another office. I don't know if yours was like that, but where we were, we could do two different places. We could work in two separate. And so I did finance, and I worked, I think, in some other JAG. I was actually in JAG for once. And weren't you also in JAG, Rose?
Yeah, I was. It was boring.
Well, and then I worked with I worked as a telephone operator. Well, when they had the plug-in boards on the base.
Right.
Wow.
And that actually was a full-time job that I got right at the end of high school. And then I decided.
So where did you graduate high school again?
Great Mills High School in Southern Maryland. And I decided I did not want to be a telephone operator, and I did not want to work there for the next 30 years. So I quit.
Wow. Yeah, I was, I've got your book here in front of me. We're going to go to this. I was a teenage dominatrix. We're going to go to that. But I remember in the back, it talks about all your jobs. And I was reading it and I was like, oh my gosh, waitress, nanny, librarian, copy typist, hotline operator, production assistant, receptionist, promoter, cashier, tour guide. I'm still going, guys. Reading tutor, swimming instructor, and dominatrix.
Dominatrix.
It's like you read all that, and then you're like, "Whoa!" So let's talk about the
let's go there. I want to go there. Rose.
Okay, so we met, and I think the book wasn't out yet when I met you. Yeah, right. I got it after we met, and oh my gosh, it was a very interesting read, I must say. And I was like, because I knew you first. I didn't know this part about your life. So when I was reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, because you're like, first of all, Shawna's like one of the sweetest, nicest people I've ever met. And just was the moment that I met you, I mean, we just hit it off. I mean, with music and everything. And then I got this book, and
which is hey, by the way, it's award winning.
Yes. Let me preface that. Award winning.
Yes.
And, it was just, so the subject matter, BDSM, but I was like, wow, it's actually funny and it's stories. And I don't think I've ever read a book where I knew the author first and I read it in your voice. Which was really cool. And I've never been able to do that before. So that was, I mean, that was.
So you recommend if anybody wants to read that book to have them listen to her narrate it instead?
Is it on audiobook?
There is an audiobook, but I did not do the narration. Okay. But there's a new version of the book. The book was just reprinted by a new publisher called Costume Press. So it has a new cover. I've added 2 new chapters and an afterword about where all the characters are now, because people always ask me about that. Right. So now that I'm on a new publisher, I will have the opportunity to do my own audiobook. Audible, that I would have to audition for it before, and I didn't want to bother with that. I'm not a voice actor, but now I can't stand to listen to the audiobook version because it doesn't sound like me.
Oh, well, I'm going to have to wait for that, especially with the 2 new chapters.
Well, tell us about it. Cool. I want to hear more about the book.
Let's hear about the book and what led up to writing this book. It's your memoir.
Yes.
So it covers the 5 years that I was in college, or like the year that I struggled to get into college, and then the 4 years that followed. I left home at 17, moved from that small town to Washington, D.C., worked a lot of jobs, really wanted to go to school, didn't know how to go about that. My parents didn't go to college. My parents didn't finish high school. So they really weren't able to give me much guidance. So I kind of had to figure that part of it out myself while going to punk shows and doing my zine. And I knew that I liked to write, but I didn't really know how to become a writer per se. I didn't know anyone who worked in the arts. So I worked a lot of different jobs. I was a nanny. I worked at America's Most Wanted as a hotline.
Really? That's cool.
When you called 1-800-CRIME-TV, you would get me or some other college student. So, worked a lot of fun jobs in DC, worked at clubs. I booked punk shows. And then I stumbled upon an ad that said, "Get paid to be a bitch." And I wondered what that was all about. You don't have
to pay me at all. I'm just a bitch sometimes.
I was like, people call me that all the time. Well, I was really actually pretty innocent and naive. I did not know what that meant. And then I met with this woman in McDonald's, and she told me all about it. And then I trained with this head mistress, and it, was better hours than waitressing. I could set my own hours. I could study in between clients, and I was able to pay for my higher education. And then I never really thought about writing about it. I wasn't very out about it when I was doing the job. Only my closest friends knew. Yeah. I was really afraid of people's judgment. And then I graduated with a degree in communications and film and moved to California, did the whole temping thing, odd jobs out there, worked in film a little bit, didn't really like it. Took a boring office job, was always writing on the side. I was writing about music. I was writing for Transworld Skateboarding and B-Side magazine and all kinds of music and skateboarding magazines, stuff I was into. But I think I was still kind of trying to work out all of my Dom experiences in my head and in my journals. So my first writings about that were actually short stories that I published in some Larry Flint magazines under a pseudonym.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, wow, people bought these stories. Like, people will pay me to write these stories. And then I thought, well, why am I writing under a fake name and why am I fictionalizing it? And I was working at a fetish magazine called WAP, which I think is around when I met you, Rose.
Yes, I remember WAP.
I think I was shoot in your driveway.
Yes, I remember that photo shoot. In a really
but it
cool
was
car.
a really fun, sort of ironic 50s style magazine. And I was an editor there, and the publishers would hear me tell stories around the office about, when I was a dominatrix. I felt very free with them to talk about these crazy experiences that I had in Washington, D.C., and they encouraged me to consider writing a memoir. And so I did. And
it's definitely unique. It's a unique writing. I mean, I'm excited about reading the updates. So, I mean, you obviously had some more memories come on up, and
I think there were some things that I wasn't mature enough to write. I finished school and I quit being a Dom at 26, and I wrote the book at 28.
Okay.
So I was pretty young to write a memoir. I didn't have the benefit of like a lot of perspective, but I think it's true to where I was at the time. So I added a couple things in this reprint that probably should have been included, but I wasn't mature enough to write yet. And
so
I like to think I'm a writer now too.
How long ago did the reprint come out?
Came out in January.
Okay.
January.
So this year,
so
2023.
This year, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm so excited.
And the artist is Jeffrey Everett, and he does a lot of the Bouncing Souls posters. That's how I found him.
Okay.
He's done a lot of band art. So I contacted him, and he did something really special for me. And it's an illustration
that's so
of a
cool.
girl sitting on the
Shout
DC
out.
show.
We have to do a shout out to Shanti and Greg right now. Hi, Shanti.
Yes.
Bouncing Souls.
Yes.
Yes.
Rose introduced me to.
So you have some other books. Oh, I'm sorry, Rose.
No, go ahead.
You have some other books you wrote. So I'm looking at some of the things that you've done. The anthology Book Lovers, Sexy Stories from Under the Covers.
Yeah, that was sort of a response to 50 Shades of Grey, because when it came out, I was talking with an editor at Steel Press, and we were both just kind of dismayed at the poor quality of the writing. Like, it's cool that the book was such a hit and a lot of people liked it, and I'm not mad at the author for getting hers, but the quality of the writing wasn't great, and it kind of disappointed me. So we put out this anthology called Book Lovers, and it's literature-inspired erotica. Cool. And so it was fun for me to put a call for submissions out and kind of gather writers and pay them for stories to put in this collection.
I mean, I'll be straightforward. I tried to read the book. I got into two chapters, I think, and I said, ew. This is stupid.
You're talking about 50 Shades of Grey,
50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, I wanted to know what the hype was. I wanted to know. I love reading too, and I just wanted to know what the hype was. I hate being left out, even if it's crappy. I want to check it out.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say I've never seen any of the movies, but good gosh, I couldn't even get through the book.
Yeah,
so definitely not going to watch the movie.
Agreed. So,
sorry if the director or anybody's listening to this and they're a military brat or anything like that.
Right. No, but
yeah. Go ahead, Rose.
Oh, I was just going to say that your writing, I love it because you write everything. You write about everything. Mm-hmm. You've got this book, you've got a memoir out, you write about vegan recipes, restaurants, fun things to do. I mean, it's just endless. And like I was saying that, I love like thumbing through your articles, reading those. Sometimes I'll print them out and I'll share them with people, on a little.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
From my printer at work.
I kind of just follow my obsessions, and that's what I want my students to do too. That like I don't cover sports. There's a lot of things I don't cover. I don't cover politics, but I cover vegan food and hiking and film locations and punk rock and music and art.
Well, you have that thing, the Remix, a 90s hip hop collection, which talks about all the different genres of music, right?
I kind of just put that together as a zine. It's sort of a high-end zine as opposed to my like cut and paste things that I did when I was 16. But I gathered together all of the early articles and photos I'd done on hip hop from the early 90s and put them together and called this thing Remix.
Well, that's what I mean. I just love your diversity. Like Rose said, she likes to read all your different articles and things you have. You are a contributing editor to many other magazines and published, one being Playboy.
Yeah, I've written for them.
Yeah. And I was saying earlier before off camera that, Playboy is not the same Playboy magazine like as we were kids when our fathers I'm not saying our fathers, but you know what I mean? Like that came out wrong. Okay, let me start that all over. I'm saying the old Playboy days, like the original Bunny Rabbit girls and all. Now it's, I don't even know what it is now. I don't think it's the same.
I think that it's like most of it's hidden behind a paywall. Like I think you can't even read the article that I wrote for them for free.
Wow.
Like subscribe to the website or something. A lot of websites.
Is there still even a print edition or is it all
I don't even know.
I don't know. I think it went out. It may have gone out of print.
Yeah.
But it used to be prestigious to get in there. I was pretty excited about selling an article to them. But
yeah, of course, you always hear, I just read it for the articles, right?
I was like, Rose, Google it right next to you. You're in front of a computer. Google it, Rose, and tell us. Answer us in about 30 seconds here. But while Rose is doing that, I also you are also what is the Rumpus Bust Salon Creative Nonfiction, New York Times. I mean, those are just some of the things, some of the magazines that you've been published in, and that's just amazing that you've accomplished so many publications.
Oh, thanks. It's been a journey, I started small. I started self-publishing with my little handmade zines. And then started pitching ideas to music and skateboarding magazines and kind of just built from there. But
that was your choice music, like Rose said, punk rock, right?
That was my focus for sure. Yeah, I actually did my first zines. A family member ran off for me on the bass copy machines. I won't quote them because I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but I actually booked punk bands on the base too. The base had a community center, and they built a half pipe ramp. And so for the grand opening of the half pipe, I brought a band down from Connecticut called Contraband and booked a local punk band called the Roadside Pets. And everybody brought their skateboards and paid $3 to get in. And we had a party at the community center.
When it was fun, when teenagers were teenagers and doing things outside, riding bikes, skateboards. Good times.
I mean, the base provided, lots of activities in a town that otherwise didn't have much to do. So it was really good.
I think Rose has an answer. She's got that look.
I was going to say, I looked it up and it says that there was a decision to stop printing the magazine, and it's only been a quarterly since 2019.
Oh.
Yeah, he died and his kids took over and Playboy died.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there you have it.
Wow. Well, let's get back to you being a military brat. Tell us, did you travel a lot as a military brat? Like,
not really, because my dad got out of the Navy when I was really little. But since he was a reservist for many years after that, he traveled. He would go to Iceland or Rio de Janeiro or Hong Kong or Norfolk, Virginia. So and always bring us stuff back.
So you didn't really feel that anxiety when people ask you, "Hey, where are you from?" Like a lot. Like I know I get that anxiety still,
Yeah.
How do I answer?
I know. I have friends like that. I feel like I can safely say the DC area because I was born in New York and grew up in Southern Maryland, but I left home as a teenager and went to college in DC and lived there for a long time. And then I lived in LA for 20 something years.
But you have that wanderlust spirit,
Yeah. I love to travel. Yeah. I meeting people from all over.
Yeah. And you recently were in Denmark.
Yes. I run a writing retreat in Denmark every summer called Hideaway, where we writers gather from all over the world and we have workshops in a castle.
That's amazing.
And I do that with a Danish writer friend of mine who I met at University of Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. I mean, I love the pictures. I see the foods that you guys are eating.
It's pretty fancy.
It was just like, oh my gosh. Like I said earlier, at the beginning of this podcast, that I live vicariously through your Instagram because, and I think I told you in one of our messages that looking at that too, it makes me feel young again. I'm watching you put a video out, making a zine, handmade zine, and I was like, nice. Oh my gosh, I'm reverting
to I feel like zines are my midlife crisis. Like I'm reverting to making these little things by hand that I used to make as a teenager. And now actually I'm going to be teaching a zine making class at the local art museum here.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool. I actually went to one of those, I guess you would call it like a lesson. They get to how to make zines at the Mexa Arte museum here in Austin. And they had a zine making class and I was like, oh my gosh, and then I was watching you do that.
What style zine was it? Did you make one?
Yeah, it was the little mini one that you made where you cut like right in the middle and then you fold it like the one sheet and it becomes 4.
It becomes like an 8-page. Yeah.
Or 8 pages. Yeah. Yeah, that was really cool. And they had like little stamps and you could leave it there. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Yeah.
Well, Rose gave me one of your books. I was flipping through the Safari Club, A History of Hardcore Punk in the Nation's Capital. And it's dated 1988 to 1998.
Yeah, those are the years that it covers. It's an oral history of a punk club that I booked for the first 2 years in DC. And my husband and I put that book together and we just did a bunch of interviews with people who'd played there or gone there for fun or worked there. Yeah.
And now you also teach at UCLA now, right?
Yeah, I teach for UCLA Extension. I teach creative writing and memoir and personal essay. And I am teaching a community writing class here at the local art museum, as well as a zine class too. So I teach on and off.
You are busy.
All the writing.
Yeah, what don't you do?
Aren't you teaching high schoolers every day?
Yeah. Well, I am.
Hard.
Yeah, but I mean, you're traveling, going to Denmark. You've got your whole schedule, like it's all down, and I think that's really cool that you just keep your childhood as part of what you're doing now. You know what I mean? Like, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, on the next printing, of your book, you can add all of that to the end from the list of jobs that I was reading off.
Yeah, because you're also a writing coach.
This one ended at Dominatrix, but I mean, it just goes on and on.
Yes,
and
my life has continued since then. Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I just want to tell you personally how proud of you I am, and it's just an honor to know you. And
oh gosh. Yeah. You've lived an exciting life. I'll live through your books.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I feel the same way. I feel very lucky to know you.
I wish we had more time to talk to our guests to get to really know a lot about you, because I know there's so much more to know about you. But we have come to the point where it's time for the lightning round. And this gives us an opportunity to get to know our guests really quick. And I'll let Rose take it from here, but good luck.
Okay, Shawna.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
So if you had to eat one meal forever, what would it be?
Green curry fried rice.
Oh, yum. Okay, so what is the last song you listened to?
Probably an Avail song.
Okay, good one. So if someone were to play you in a movie, who would it be?
I used to say Reese Witherspoon,
Oh,
but I don't know. If it
think
had
that
to
would be
for me
perfect.
now, I don't even know who those people are.
oh, she would be perfect.
Billie Eilish. I don't know.
Oh, okay, nice. Okay. If you didn't have to sleep, what would you do with the extra time?
I've thought about this a lot. I would read a lot more. Read more books.
Yeah, me too. That's a good one. Okay. If you could spend a day in someone else's shoes, whose would they be?
Living or dead? Doesn't
Living
matter.
or dead? They could be
I
dead.
guess if they're dead, their shoes aren't going anywhere. But if I could time travel, I would say Harriet Tubman.
Okay. Wow. Okay. What is your most used emoji?
Oh, probably the oh my God scream.
Yeah. That's a popular one. Okay. Physical book, Kindle, or audiobook?
Oh, physical book for sure.
Okay. Place that you most want to visit that you have never visited before?
India.
Okay. And are you a night owl or an early bird?
Early bird.
Yay. That does it for our lightning round.
Wow, you didn't
Did I
even have to
stump you?
pass on any of those. That was good.
I know she did it all without a pass. Yeah,
Sure.
I even forgot about the bat, so that's why I did it.
Well, Shawna, we always like to give the opportunity for our guests to share about what's going on, to plug what's happening right now in your life. So I know people can go to ShawnaKenney.com, and
Yes.
that's Kenney. Shawna.
A lot of people mess that up.
Okay, ShawnaKenney.com, and go on ahead and share what you want to share that you want folks to.
Yeah, if you go to my website and sign up for my newsletter or contact me through the submission form, I'll send you a free zine. I'm making a vegan Friendsgiving recipe zine for it's a bunch of recipes that all my friends have made over the years of Thanksgivings that I've had. So I will send you one if you sign up for my newsletter on my website.
Thank you.
And if you want to study writing with me, all the information is there too. I really believe that everyone should write their life story, whether you're going to publish or not. Your kids will want it. Your grandkids might want it. So I encourage everyone to just write your life.
Well, I'm going to encourage my nephew to look into taking one of your classes, because Rose's son loves creative writing.
Oh.
Yeah, he's actually an English major.
Yes, he is.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
exciting. Oh, I'm sure both of your kids are creative considering the parents.
Yeah, they're a lot more creative than I am.
Oh, no, that's so cool.
Well,
Yeah.
as military brats, we don't ever like to say goodbye to our friends, because we know it's not goodbye. Rose, what do we say?
We always say, see you later.
Later.
See you later. See you later.
See, I'm a listener.
Yay. See you
Yes.
later.
Thank you
Shauna.
guys so
Thanks,
much.
Shawna.
Great seeing
Thank
you
you.
again.
Wow, what an exciting life Shawna lived. What?
Yeah.
Wow, what an interview. Like, I I know we all do like things when we're young, to go and live the life, but man, she lived an exciting life. And I love how she did things on her own terms,
Yeah, she's very independent, free-spirited,
Yeah. She's
and
so strong.
just someone that I look up to. And I'm just so honored that she gave us an interview.
Thank you, Shawna. We really
Yeah.
appreciated her visiting with us. But hey, if you know of someone out there that you think we should be interviewing, a notable military brat, let us know. Visit us at www.punkbrats.com and leave us a message there, or call our phone number at 512-254-5989. We have a voicemail at the end of this podcast from Mary, another punk brat. So, leave us your story too. Oh man, Rose, I hate this part.
Yeah. This is where we say, see you later.
Yeah. Because what do we never say? Military brats, we never say bye. We always say, see you later. So, see you later.
Hi, this is Mary. I'm one of the listeners of Punk Brats. I really enjoyed listening to the podcast, and I like hearing the military brat stories. I think we're a unique group. I myself am a military brat. My father was in the Air Force, and we lived in Madrid, Spain when I was younger, and along with my older brother and two sisters. And actually, my brother and one of my sisters graduated from over there as well, from high school. So I enjoy hearing all the stories and all the fun and interactions that y'all do. And I also have a son in the military. It's nice to hear the stories and reminisce. So I appreciate the show, and I hope to keep on hearing y'all. Thank you.